morning, Naz kids. Welcome to Miss Erica's Backyard Bible Camp. I've got 5 weeks of lessons planned for you in our Backyard Bible Camp series. And in this series, we are going to focus on the topic of serving others, to serve. So first of all, let's talk about what it means to serve. Now, since school's not in session, let's have a little English lesson here. Serve is a verb. A verb is an action word. Run, walk, eat, climb, read. Those are things you can do. Those are all verbs. Well, serve is a verb. And to serve means to give someone service or to present someone with something. So the example in the dictionary says, serve is when you bring someone a drink. If you give someone a drink, you serve them. Well, the Bible talks a lot about service and serving others, and there are lots of great examples of people in the Bible, great Bible heroes who are excellent examples of serving. So for the next 5 weeks, we are going to look at a different Bible hero who can teach us how to serve, and we're going to look at 5 different areas to serve others. So today, our first area to serve others is to serve our family. Our first series is going to look at ways we can serve our family. That means the people that you live with, that you're spending time with. Now, this is an excellent lesson for this time because I've been spending a lot of time with my family. You've probably been spending a lot of time with your family. We're staying in close quarters with each other. And in today's story from the Bible, this family actually gets on each other's nerves. They get pretty upset with each other, and some pretty bad things end up happening to them as a family unit. And so this is a time when a lot of us are together that we may be finding it difficult to spend so much time with our family, or we may get on each other's nerves some days. But at the end of this story, there's an excellent example of how someone who was treated very badly in the family ended up serving his family and being there to help them. So today's story is going to come from Genesis 37 and 45. The whole entire chapter of 37 and 45. So for my really good readers, my Thaddeus's, my Abby's, all of my great readers, my Mackenzies, you should get out a Bible and you should read the true story of Genesis 37 and 45. And when you open your Bible to Genesis 37, the title of that chapter is Joseph's Dreams. And today's story is about a man named Joseph. Now, a lot of us think about the story of his coat of many colors, but there are some other parts to that story. And when you get to chapter 45, you will find out a lot of other things that happen in that story that are really important to today's lesson of serving others. So for my really good readers, I strongly encourage you to take out your Bible and read chapter 37 and chapter 45. Now for today, I'm going to read the story from the Beginner's Children's Bible, and we're going to take a look at this story, and we're going to go beyond the coat of many colors and find out some things that happened in that story that are going to teach us how we can serve our family. Okay? So here we go. Today's story. I read this yesterday and the wind was blowing, and so my bookmark is in the wrong place. Here we go. Joseph's colorful robe. Joseph was one of Jacob's 12 sons. Jacob loved him more than all of his other sons. Jacob made Joseph a colorful robe. His brothers were jealous. They wanted nice robes too. They wanted to be loved as much as Joseph was loved. Joseph had a dream. He told his family, "We were bundling grain in the field, and your bundles bowed down to mine." That's a weird dream, isn't it? Then Joseph had another dream. He said, "This time the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." His father said, does this mean that your family is going to bow down to you someday? The brothers were angry. They threw Joseph into a dry well. Getting on each other's nerves, wouldn't you say? The brothers were feeling jealous. Along came some traders, so the brothers sold Joseph to them as a slave. They lied to their father and said that Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. But God was still with Joseph. So Joseph gets taken away from his family. He's now a slave. During that time as a slave, he gets thrown into jail. This is an important part of the story that maybe you have not heard before. Pharaoh's dreams. The traders took Joseph to Egypt, and he was thrown into jail. He did nothing wrong. But Joseph trusted God to help him even during this time. He made friends with some of the prisoners. One of them had been a wine taster for the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was the leader of Egypt. The wine taster said, "Last night I had a dream. I was picking grapes and squeezing them into the Pharaoh's cup, and then I put the cup in his hand. What do you think this means, Joseph?" Joseph answered, "You will be the Pharaoh's wine taster once again. Once you are free, please don't forget about me. Help me get out of jail too." A few days later, the wine taster's dream came true. He got out of jail and became the Pharaoh's wine taster once again, but he forgot about Joseph. So here he is in jail. He's doing for others, but so far nothing's happened for him. Later, the Pharaoh had two very strange dreams. In one of the dreams, he saw 7 heavy cows and 7 skinny cows. The skinny cows ate all of the heavy cows. In another dream, Pharaoh saw 7 healthy plants and 7 dried up plants. The dried up plants ate all of the healthy plants. Pharaoh was confused. Have you noticed in this story that somebody seems to be pretty good at understanding what dreams mean? Pharaoh's wise men were confused too. Then the wine taster remembered Joseph. He told the Pharaoh that Joseph could explain dreams. With God's help, Joseph told the Pharaoh what his dreams meant. For the next 7 years, you will have plenty of food, and it will grow abundantly. But for the 7 years after that, not enough food will grow because there will be no rain. Pharaoh said, "Joseph, you are a very wise man. I will make you ruler over Egypt." For the first 7 years, Joseph was in charge of gathering extra food for the people of Egypt. That way, when hardly any crops grew, he knew they would still have plenty. The 7 bad years began, and people in other countries had no food at all. Even Joseph's family did not have enough to eat. So Joseph's father sent his sons to Egypt to buy some food. So here come the brothers who sold Joseph into slavery. When the brothers arrived in Egypt, they went to Joseph and bowed down to him. They did not know that it was their brother, but Joseph knew. Joseph sold them some food, and then the brothers left to go home. Sometime later, they returned to buy more food. And just as Joseph had dreamed, they bowed down to him again. Finally, Joseph told them, "I am your brother." The brothers were afraid. But Joseph told them, "Do not be afraid. God meant it for good. He had a special plan for me," he said, and they all hugged. Joseph's brothers rushed home. They told their father what had happened, and Jacob was so happy to hear that Joseph was alive, the whole family moved to Egypt. So in this story, Joseph gets sent away as a slave and then thrown into prison. Pretty bad things, but Joseph knew that even in those hard times, God meant all of that to happen so that eventually he could serve his family by providing for them in 7 very hard years of not having any food. So even in times like this, when we're unsure, God does have a plan, and something positive is going to come out of this, and you can play a role in doing that. So this week's challenge is to serve our family. So I have a little project for you, a little challenge for you this week. I'd like you to find some ways to serve your family, the people with whom you live with. So I did a little project. You can make this project, or you can just find ways to serve them. It's up to you. What I did was I found an old box, and I just covered it with some duct tape that I had, and I wrote helpers hints on the box, because I'm going to put my hints in here every week to help me. And what I did was I picked 5 things I could do to serve my family, or people in my home could do to serve our family, and I put them in this box so that in the morning I could draw one out and find a way to accomplish that task during the day. So I'm just going to read you 5 examples just to get your brain thinking. In your household, you may already have chores that you have to do, so if you already are supposed to take out the trash, you can't count that as your act of service. That is your job that you need to do in your household. These are above and beyond things that your family is not expecting, things out of the blue, okay? So here are some examples. You could pick up a mess your brother or sister left behind. That's going to serve 2 people. It's going to serve your brother or sister, but it's also going to serve your mom or whoever's keeping the house clean during this time. You could dust and vacuum a room. Any household chore would be a great act of service. You could take over a job that you see someone starting. You see mom get out the vacuum cleaner. You could say, hey mom, I'll finish that for you. Take the vacuum cleaner from her and finish that job for her. What a great act of service. Make my bed and one other bed. You are doing something to help your household in 2 ways. And finally, do the dishes or load or unload the dishwasher. Just simple things around the house that are not expected of you, but that you can surprise people with. I challenge you to find some ways this week to serve your family. Next week, in Miss Erica's Bible Backyard Camp, we will learn another group of people that we can try to serve, and we will have another example of a great Bible hero who can teach us how to do that. Today, we learned about how a family that was once divided came back together after many years and even found good through hard times. And I hope that this week you will do the same as you serve your family and serve those around you. Have a fabulous week. I'm praying for you. Thanks.